Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the iRacing Esports Network and Apex Racing TV for the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship. We're here at the Okayama International Circuit for the second meeting of the young season. Andrew Woodhouse here with Sam Kumo on the cameras. Kevin Galvin is hopefully going to be joining us shortly. But three races tonight here at this famous circuit in Japan, home of the Pacific Grand Prix for a couple of years in Formula One, and the scene of some great touring car action here in the past on the Thursday night as well. Well, what about that first meeting? We had a tremendous meeting last time out. It was really fantastic. Some new faces, some previous winners, some returning champions all battling it out, and a massive grid of over 50 cars as well, which really was a absolute spectacle. Just before we get into it as well, I did want to sort of say that, well, looking at the recent events around the world and things like that, I do want to say that everybody here at Apex Racing TV does stand with any victims of racism, discrimination, and persecution around the world. And I just want to say I've had a thought about the strikes that have been going on in sports, and how potentially I could help the situation. And my only thought was to come on here and basically to tell everybody, Black Lives Matter always, every time and all the time. And we stand with our black brothers and sisters around the world. And we want to say that, I want to say I support every single one of you. So, we're all behind you here on Apex Racing TV. And there we go. Now, there is some racing coming up, and three brilliant touring car races. We've got the points on the screen for you now. And after those first three races, Ross Balfour, well, he finished second in the championship previously last season, and he now heads the standings, 14 points clear of David Baker in a very consistent meeting for Pure Sims Esports. Matthew Turnbull's debut in the championship went very well indeed, and he starts the day third overall in the points. Adam Hadfield's in fourth, Marcel Fritsch in fifth as well. Fritsch, another newcomer to the series. Jamie Rushworth, the former champion, in sixth. Philip Johansson, Alex Simpson returning, a former runner-up. Pete Newman, a former Showdown contender, in ninth, and then John Roberts, former AM champion, in 10th. So a fantastic top 10 made up of various different teams, and like I said, previous champions of all the categories. And in the AM category, well, Oscar Mangan, he put down his credentials early on with and he heads the standings with 12 points ahead of Jack Sedgwick, Dennis Neidhart in third. Then it's Michael Odoka. I think maybe it's the wrong way around. I think we've got the AM instead of the pro, and we've got the pro instead of the AM. But you can see Oscar Mangan is up there as well. Jack Sedgwick, Dennis Neidhart, Michael Odoka, and Jason Staney on that screen there. Qualifying has begun, and as usual, a 15-minute session here at Okayama. Let's take a look at the live action then out on the circuit. Philip Johansson, the Hell Racers, is the man that we're currently looking at. Great livery on that, and the Swede has certainly done well in a few different series that we've been covering over the past few months. And this circuit is a good one. It's perfect for touring cars. You've got a long back straight where the DRS was when the iRacing World Championship Series came here, and this long back straight is perfect for slipstreaming and overtaking, because at the end of it, see that right-hand hairpin, which is very tight. I'm sure we're going to see some nonsense there on the first lap. This double apex left-hander will set the cars up nicely for the short straight into another tight left-hander. So there's plenty of opportunities for late moves on the brakes and some side-by-side action, I'm sure. Jason Staney, the Ugandan, was very good last time out as well. And the Craig setup shop, well, Tim Greven out for this season, and Staney in, and Staney's proved more than capable replacement so far. Qualifying, getting a space out on the track is going to be very difficult indeed among all the chaos, with over 50 cars out there on the circuit. My goodness, space is going to be at a premium indeed. Can we have a quick look, actually, Sam? I wonder if we can get the track conditions up on the screen as the first couple of laps, the out lap times start rolling through. There it is. There it is. We've got a small wind, about 7 kilometers an hour there. 26 degrees is the air temperature, and it's 48 on the track as the sun beats down on the Japanese tarmac. And shout out to Paul Smith for that one. But yeah, the tyres could be an issue potentially towards the end of the race if these temperatures continue to be so baking hot out there. And yeah, a fair bit of humidity in the air as well, as is usually the case at this part of the world. Looking at Oscar Mangan for Core Sim Racing. Now, former World Championship driver, extremely talented. We'll go on board with him actually here for the remainder of his lap. 37th place on the board, but that means nothing really because, like I say, that was only an out lap. But here we go. Into the hairpin. When does he pick his braking point? It's quite late, just after 100. Turns it in, nice and smooth. You can see the speed in the bottom right-hand corner. You see how slow this section is, barely breaking 100 kilometers an hour in some places. This four-wheel drive Audi RS3 TCR car, he climbs all over the curves, does Mangan, trying to get as much of an advantage as he can. Now the hard braking into these tight hairpins, nicely judged. He didn't go in too deep. As Newman goes to the top of the timesheets, 139.639. These last two corners are pretty good. Pretty fast downhill right-hander. You want to get the inside curb, you want to touch the outside curb. Make sure you don't run wide into the final corner. It's quite a tough corner because it's always one that you think you can carry more speed into than you do, and then you're in the gravel on the left. But Mangan comes across, then what's he going to do? Where's he going to go in the standings? Well, it might have been an invalidated lap, I think. So he stays 45th. Adam Hadfield has gone to the front of the field. Provisional pole position for Swift Cooper Esports, 139.275. Michael Evdoka is in second place as well. And then it's one of the Neidharts, Dennis Neidhart in P3. Alex Neller might be looking for a little bit of the bubbly in fourth place. We'll see if he can do that by the end. But yeah, Hadfield looking good in the early going on. And Jason Cooper to the top of the sheet there. 139.2. He goes slightly faster. 3/4 of a tenth ahead of Hadfield. The same team. They've obviously got a good setup here at Okayama today. 10 minutes to go then. 5 minutes gone. Cooper, Hadfield, Evdoka, Neidhart, Neller, Turnbull, Trendell, Newman, Mark Woodhouse, the highest AM qualifier at the moment. Jason Staney in 10th. We look at Trendell, Team Chimera, Audi. Dave Baker goes fastest. Ross McFarlane, reigning champion. He goes to the top of the pile, 138.446. So some of the big guns starting to really make their presence felt out there. George Simmons up to P2. Neidhart improves again to 3rd. Trendell currently sat in 7th place. Mikel Garcia up to 29th. Woodhouse with another lap. Can he get it back up into the top 20? No, not on this occasion. But we're going to see at the end of this session, I'm sure, two purple sectors for Trendell. He's got a great slipstream down the back straight here from these CQR cars here. Sorry, the pure sim car, sorry. That's the force of habit, long time habit. Yeah, but Trendell looking very good indeed. Can he parlay those first couple of good sectors into a lap maybe in the top 5? Maybe even provisional pole. Turns in nicely to the hairpin. And then you've got to immediately think about sorting it out for the right-hander. See, car 64 ahead of him, that's Matthew Turnbull in the Pure Sims OBP car. Trendell tries to carry the speed through the last two corners. Can he do in sector 4? He's going to get a nice tow though still. Drives for the line then. Was 8th. Oh, and fastest for Trendell. Beautiful lap there. And P1 at the moment for him. It's excellent stuff going to the top. McFarlane in second, Ash Sutton in third there. Adam Hadfield up to fifth with a personal best lap of his own. Just less than a couple of tenths slower than Trendell. Sun beating down here. Great conditions visually. No issues for the drivers there with fog or anything like that, which we've seen before in these parts. Where's Wojciech Swidovic? There he is at 15th place, multiple champion. I think it's 7 titles for Wojciech Swidovic, and 15th place at the moment for the Polish driver. Behind him is a driver who's very quick in the practice. That was oh dear, Kieran Harrison. That's it. New to the series, Harrison, and very quick indeed. He's 12th overall at the moment. Garcia's gone up into 11th. Mangan in 10th. It's really a group of drivers, a real new guard, challenging the established names here this season in the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship. Once again, very, very glad to have you with us here on the iRacing Esports Network and Apex Racing TV. Andrew Woodhouse and Sam Kumo with you at the moment. And I wonder actually, Sam, if I could just bring you in for a moment, just while I can maybe rest the voice for a second. But what do you make of this track? Because we're going to get some really, really close qualifying times here.
Well, it's the usual Okayama, so it's gonna be difficult. I think like the tarmac is always causing issues with these guys, but at least here we still have plenty of room to just move. Although even if you look at the track map, it's a constant train from. I think that is Wojciech basically leading this whole train.
You know where the best place to be? I was going to say the best place to be is where Wojciech Swidovic is.
Yeah, but then you don't have the draft.
Oh well, unless he's not on a fast lap and he has to let people through that. But yeah, I mean, come the race as well. I mean, you've driven this track before. Mm-hmm. Overtaking is going to be very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, basically your main place is at the end of the long back straight into hairpin, but even there you can actually make the outside line work because it's a very slow right-hander followed by fairly tight and kind of awkward left-hander. So you can still defend, and I think these last 2 corners here, these are the kind of hopeful corners where you just hope that you can overtake, but it's usually just gonna slow you both down if you try to do anything there.
Yeah, Ash Sutton looks like he's on a decent lap as well. He just comes across. He was in 7th place. Goes P2, so just behind Harrison, who goes to the front once again. And 38.1, very quick in practice, as I said. I think he was fastest overall.
Yeah, looking at the times right now, we are not seeing many purple sectors at this point. I think we've already been past the peak performance of the track and the tires at this point, and only seen 1 purple sector, and that's from George Simmons from last lap. But the rest of the sectors, oh, that was a close one.
Oh, I didn't see it. I was looking at the timing screen.
There was basically almost half the stopped car on the apex, and somehow George was able to avoid it. It was the team camera car.
It's a bit of a hassle. Is with all these cars out there. Even last week, I was doing a league race on a different sim, getting that space in qualifying, with 3 of us nearly piled into each other on the last corner because we were trying to get the space. So it's a task for these drivers, certainly. We're looking at Jack Sedgwick in that beautiful matte black IDC car, and he's currently in 14th place, but his racing is exceptional. He's not always got that 1 lap in him, but seemingly over the race distance he's very, very good indeed. Very quick.
Yeah, he is one of the experienced drivers in the series, and yeah, he is currently on pretty quick lap, so I think this would be easily in the top 10 if he can just keep it clean for the last remaining 2 corners.
He becomes pretty relentless once the green flag flies, I'll tell you that. And Dave Baker goes into 5th place. Someone who doesn't matter about the level of competition. You know, the competition level goes up. Dave Baker raises his level again, and up into the top 5, just behind Pete Newman, who was. And Newman's really improved the last couple of years. Crazy to think, isn't it, that he was a title contender all the way back in, I think it was 2015 or 2016, but really he's shown an absolutely new lease of life with his pace, with his ability over the last 18 months or so. And yeah, Newman looking good for a second row start at the moment, but all can change. Seeing a few green sectors on the timing screen. Yeah, nothing absolutely lighting it up like what Sam was saying. De Soto was on a lap as well. He was 11th in the championship, but that didn't put him anywhere inside the top 25 even. We look at Torres. And Fiercely Forward have brought a good crew this season. Torres, the Spaniard, who is going on quite nicely, actually. I do like the livery. They had a very similar livery last year, but looks very, very good indeed. And Torres in 15th place.
Yeah, Torres at a really good pace. He's currently the fastest AM driver that we have. Campfield is all the way down to 20th. But if you look at the caps, this is so close. Top 20 within half a second.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing. I mean, if you put on the... yeah, I mean, look at that. 0.4 to 20th place, and actually behind 20th place. There's actually, Sam, if you go actually 3 more tenths down, you get about another 10 or 15 places. So this is what the drivers are going to have to deal with here. And this is another reason why it is so difficult to overtake. Because simply, you know, you're racing against people who are basically the same speed as you. And yeah, this is a track as well that a lot of drivers know well. It's one of the first tracks you drive on iRacing on the roadside if you do the official races. And then this layout, well, has been used in this series for many seasons now. I think it's a layout that is a bit underused. I do like it a lot. I think it tends to work very well for the for any car really. But as we were saying, overtaking is maybe the only thing that is one of the shortcomings of this track. You don't often see loads and loads of it, but knowing my luck with predictions, this will be the most overtaking we've ever seen in a ARLTC race.
I mean, I think on this series we are guaranteed to have more overtaking than on most other official races, just because of the number of cars we have.
Yeah, I don't think there's much doubt about that. One of the closest series you are ever likely to see. We'll run you through the grid order here then on the screen. Kieran Harrison takes pole position. He's first in the ARLTCR, ahead of Ash Sutton with Simon Trendell in third, Pete Newman fourth, Dave Baker in fifth, and Jack Sedgwick in sixth. Dennis Neidhart is seventh, Matthew Turnbull is eighth, ninth for Wojciech Swiderowicz, and 10th for Ross McFarlane. Adam Hadfield is 11th, Jason Cooper is 12th, 13th place is Michael Evdoka. Alex Neller in 14th, only 3 tenths off pole, down in 14th goes me. Alex Torres 15th, and 16th is Josh Simmons. Fraser Smith is 17th, Philip Johansson 18th, and it's 19th for Alex Simpson, with Jason Staney in 20th. Adrian Campfield 21st, Norbert Leitner 22nd, and Jake Blackhall in 23rd, Preben Vala in 24th. 25th place goes to Craig Williams, and it's Oscar Mangan in 26th. 27th, Miguel Garcia, Mark Woodhouse in 28th, and 29th for Nathan Davies. Ricard Carlson 30th, Mats Borger Anderson in 31st, 32nd for Jamie Rushworth, Mike Johnston is in 33rd, Ben Gregory in P34. Sean Gardner then follows with Darius Neidhart behind him, and then in 37th place is Adam Hedgecock with Eric Mickey in 38th, Matthias Sauer in 39th, Luke Kidsley in 40th, and 41st is Rob Sutherland. Toby Ward in 42nd place with Marcel Fritsch there, and then Scott Malcolm, John Roberts, Kip Stevens, Pierre-Yves de Soto, and then Baron Glover in 48th. And then at the very back of the grid, you've got 49th Joachim Gulbrandsen, Austin Foster in 50th, Damien Harris 51st, Jamie Wilson 52nd, and Simon Field will be starting in 53rd place. Right then, here we go. I just about got that in time. Here we go. 5 red lights above the drivers. The lights are off, the race is on. It was a decent start by Harrison. He's got away quite well off the front row. He's going to try and maybe cover off Ash Sutton into turn 1. Sutton will have a look if he gets the opportunity. But Harrison makes his way through then and into the lead, maintains the lead. Sutton in second, Trendell up into third ahead of... well, someone's dropped down quite a lot. I think they're off the start. Baker up to 5th, Sedgwick then down to 6th. Someone's in the gravel. I think that might be Alex Simpson in the gravel. In turn 2, so bad times for Simpson at the start here, but it's Kieran Harrison for HM Engineering who leads them down the long back straight. Nash Sutton's right in the slipstream. He is gaining, but he's not going to have gained enough. Jack Sedgwick trying to cover his inside line as he defends from David Baker. Turnbull and Neidhart going into battle there, you see. Neidhart for the .exe esports. We're hoping to avoid a crash in this one. Svidovic alongside Hadfield in that battle a bit further up the field. Alex Neller, you see the boosted car there. The striped, multicoloured machine in 14th place. Down the inside for George Simmons. He's not shy of a move, that's for sure. Neller trying to defend that one. Hadfield and Cooper, they were the early pace setters in qualifying. They ended up starting 11th and 12th, but still alongside each other, and now into formation as Hadfield is ahead, just behind Wojciech Svidovic. So lap 1 complete, and Kieran Harrison with the advantage then over Ash Sutton. It's only a quarter of a second, then Nathan Davies is into the pits then for Hesketh Racing. Don't know what happened to him that time, but Davies in, it could be a jump start.
Yeah, it could be jump start, and it was really clean first lap. I think we only had 3 drivers having issues, which was basically Davies, Damien Harris and Alex Simpson. But other than that, it's been really nice, really clean, just overtaking all over the place. Yeah,
very good indeed, and we've seen that. We haven't seen such a clean first lap.
Oh, what's that?
Too often. Oh! Oh, I mean, that's not something you see every day. And, well, I wonder if that's an optional extra in the showroom to come with, I don't know, ghosting enabled invisibility. Let's say that's Mangan up the inside, and that was Preben Vala, I think, the Norwegian driver who was involved there. And oh, there's been an issue because been a bit of a crash because Cooper's got damage.
Yeah, I wonder if he made contact with Wojciech, because I also saw Wojciech moving around on the positions quite quickly.
Yeah, that could be the case actually. Is there any damage to the back of car 8? Wojciech Svidovic, let's see, not really.
No, I think
it might have been his teammate.
Yeah,
oh dear. Oh dear. Swift Cooper then, making contact with each other. Maybe team bonding, maybe that's what that is. Oh, goodness me. Well, there's some bonding going on in the midfield, and that's Campfield. Oh, and bang! Johansson goes into Vala. Some Scandinavian crime there as the Swede collides with the Norwegian, but on the outside for Campfield. Oh, he's not giving Mangan a lot of room there. But Mangan, the Irishman, very good indeed. Because they used to drive in the World Championship. Showing his mettle in the touring cars. He's still alongside. Oh my word, Campfield moves in front, and now there's a bit of contact, and as Mangan says, well, I don't appreciate that. You can have a little nudgy into the hairpin. And Sam, to be honest, that was already a little bit tight, wasn't it, between those two before that?
Yeah, you could see it coming with Mangan flashing the lights and then going very forceful on the entry.
Oh, Vala late on the brakes. Did well in the end to gather it all up, did Preben Vala, but Craig Williams, oh Bosch, Williams slicing ahead. So Simon Fielder's crash, that's a bit further down the order, but we'll stick with this action in the middle. Ash Sutton's taken the lead from Harrison, Sam, so didn't see it on the screen. while we were watching that intense battle, Ash Sutton managed to take the lead away.
Yeah,
So
it
we might
must
get
have
to
just...
find out the
Oh, we
fight.
do have something happening in the midfield.
Oh, off goes Mark Johnston. That's the Northern
And he
Irishman
had someone
off.
else as well.
Glover?
Possibly.
No, Glover was out already, I think. Could have been Kidsley. Might be Kidsley. Oh, Kidsley's in the gravel, that's where he is. It's actually the teammate of Johnston. Yeah, I'm not sure who dropped down the order. I think it possibly was Glover, actually. I'm not sure. But, oh, there's a move into turn 1. That's De Soto. That was Harris, sorry, getting past Stevens, I think.
Yeah, so we were looking at the front, so Sutton is now taking a lead, but he is not actually being able to run away from Harrison, and Harrison is coming straight back.
Well, that's very late on the brakes, and that's very good indeed, because Ash Sutton is the latest braker we've seen in this championship, possibly ever. And for Harrison to get through on the brakes like that in a straight fight, very good indeed. Don't know if Sutton was maybe saying, well, you go in front and maybe just see what, you know, just maybe see what's what, but I doubt he would be just letting him through on a track like this. I feel very, very closely matched, as we see. Just 2.5 seconds covers the top 8. And just 10 seconds covers the top 20. So, again, that field spread hasn't really come to much fruition so far. Drivers certainly being quite well behaved.
No, and basically...
Touch wood as is my PC, Sam, with all these cars up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on the track map, basically we just see the few drivers who are behind are basically those who just run into some issues. But everyone else who has kept it mostly clean is still coming through, and that is Jack Sedgwick trying to make a move here on Pete Newman.
On the track map, it looks like the Snake game on mobile phones. It's going quite close to itself, but not quite hitting it. But yeah, it's going round. It's losing cubes off the back of it, though.
Yeah, it's trying to catch up to Nathan Davis on 52nd position.
Yeah, poor Nathan. They made 52nd place. I'm not sure I've ever been that low in a race, and I don't think I've ever been in a race with 50 odd cars in it. But there you go. That's Turnbull, and Turnbull had a good meeting last time round at Spa-Francorchamps. There's a lot of, I tell you what, Sam, there's a lot of blue and white cars in this championship, isn't there?
Yeah, it's
there's too many. People didn't listen to me last week when I said somebody changed something, and nobody has.
Yeah, we have Pure Sim, we have the Apex, and
you've got the other Pure Sim cars as well.
Yeah, exactly. eSport and OBP, yeah.
Who have got similar liveries. We're not quite the same. And yeah, it's ended up being. You can see the Apex car in the background there. Yeah, so you've got Turnbull, who's Pure Sim's OBP. So he's got more of the black. Oh, there you go. There's one. There's Evdoka. So Evdoka with the OBP with slightly more black trim on the front and the side. You've got the Apex car, which, to be honest, is nearly the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dear me, I don't know if that's done for some sort of confusion, a bit like how some insects will camouflage into the, to confuse the prey or whatever. I don't know, but there you go. It's yeah, there's a lot of blue and white. So we'll just say that. There's more blue and white behind the Swift Cooper car. At least it's a different shade of blue.
Yeah, and there's plenty of orange, so you can.
Oh, here we go! It's Wojciech. Wojciech dives and he hits Hadfield. That was quite forceful. I'm not. Oh, sorry, not Hadfield. Evdoka. Not sure if Evdoka will be happy about that one. I certainly wouldn't be if that was me. But Savidovic nonetheless up into 10th place. We'll see what the stewards have to say about that.
Yeah, he's not happy.
No, I don't imagine he would be. So getting a bit punted, didn't he, out of the way there. Harrison leads And the front is starting to, I wouldn't say it's starting to break apart, Sam, but certainly the gaps are more like 4 tenths, maybe, as opposed to 2 tenths between.
Yeah, but it's still... You can still draft back, but it's definitely opening up slightly. I think the midfield is kind of still back together, because when you have some overtaking attempts, it kind of starts to punch up the group again. So you don't really get a chance to run away with it.
Harrison looking for his first win in the championship, and you know, it's always difficult to get your first win. Once you get the first one, it kind of all seems to fall into place a little bit, but it won't have taken him long to get it if he does get it here on his 4th start in the ARLTCR, and that is that will be very, very impressive. And if he holds on, Sam, to beat a driver of Ash Sutton's caliber, would be a big statement at the start of the season.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, Kieran has been extremely fast in the qualify and the previous round, so it's not like he's out of his element running at the front.
Oh no, but he had a bit of bad luck, didn't he, last time round, and a couple of things didn't quite go his way. And this is the chance to potentially show a dominating performance now. It's still going to be hard to hang on. You know, Ash Sutton doesn't go away lightly. I mean, I've raced against him in this championship, and it's very tough to keep him behind. You know, I was not successful many times, but he, even if you're as fast as Kieran Harrison, a lot faster than me, I can tell you, and it's still going to be hard to keep him behind. Trendell's doing very well as well. We saw him in qualifying, put in a really good lap. We know he's a good driver. We know he's been driving around on iRacing for several years, and always finishes well in the events that I've seen him in anyway. But yeah, 3rd place, and we've seen some very good drivers in the past, Sam, come into this series, be stuck right in the midfield, but for these two to basically be doing this early on, 1 and 3, it's very good indeed.
Yeah, certainly. And I think like we maybe expected a little bit more shake-up when we went from Kia to Audi. But I think what we've seen is that the fast guys who were fast in Kia are also fast here in the Audi. But then we also have plenty of new drivers coming into the series that we've not seen before and are immediately right up the top pace. Like Harrison, like Trendell.
It's funny because we expected the shake-up to be last year, but the shake-up is happening now. In that, you know, there's many new drivers coming in and doing a great job. And the names that were up fighting at the front of the field last season are really fighting just to survive out there in the top 10, and that is, you know, that is what's going to make for hopefully a fantastic series going forward, as Jack Sedgwick is 5th and he's starting to put pressure. And we said, I mean, qualified 6th, so he did improve his time, but we did say that come the race, Jack Sedgwick is very, very hard to beat. And I think this is going to be a chance for Sedgwick here. He's right in behind Newman. He's less than 2 tenths behind him. He's in the slipstream. Is he going to pull out from the slipstream and go up the inside? No, he's not. He's in overtaking place, but as anyone who knows anyone who's done rookie Mazdas will know, it's not always as easy in overtaking to there, Sam, as what it looks sometimes.
Yeah, I think he would be wise to either wait for this corner here or at the end of the straight, and I think he might be setting up the move, getting around here on the straight.
This is a tricky corner. I remember trying to drive this track in the IndyCar, and it was sideways, and understeer and oversteer, and everything through there as it was. As that corner opens up, you're trying to get on the power as quickly as possible. Cedric does have a look. He motions to the inside to at least make Newman think about the possibility of an attack, but Pete Newman steadfast in his driving at the moment, and he's trying to get on the podium as well. He's only half second behind Trendell, so see what he can do into this tight section. 2 hairpin bends, left and right bends, followed by these 2 right-handers that Sam was talking about earlier on. This first one, I do like this first one because this pretty quick in the touring car. This one is tricky to get right. See a lot of people end up in the gravel, and somebody was kicking up the gravel actually on the outside. And this is more like it in terms of the distance that Cedric needs to be. Excuse me, make an overtake, but Newman was late on the brakes, Sam, that time.
Yeah, it looked like Newman is... I mean, he is not slow, but at least on previous lap it seemed like Cedric is able to hit the apexes much better and is able to actually carry more speed through the corners, but it is not quite enough to make a serious attempt at Newman.
Not at the moment, that's for sure.
Again, Newman ran wide here, missed the apex.
Good run for Cedric. He just doesn't quite have it, does he? He's not quite gaining yet. Newman was still pulling away until pretty much this point now. Jack does brake late. Oh, there is a move behind, and that's McFarlane, reigning champion, car 1. Going up the inside of Dennis Neidhart. And Neidhart is not giving up, he's on the inside, he's a German. And the Scotsman McFarlane, the reigning ARLTC king. Making an overtake fit for a king there. It's a good move. And,
Dennis did put up...
oh, he's pushing him through the corner though.
Yeah,
but
that's close.
He's parking that nicely, isn't he, on the apex, Sam? He's not letting him get a sniff of that.
As I was about to say, Dennis built a good defense there because you can defend it if you just stay on the outside on the hairpin, but then it just wasn't enough pace through the corners to keep up.
Not this time.
Let's see, where is Oscar Mangan right now? He's all the way down to 17th. I mean, it's way down. Okay, he has gained 9 positions, but it's still pretty far considering the championship fight that he's on.
Cooper's car is showering out sparks in front from the damage. At least it was doing coming down the straight, and there you can see. I don't know if you can see them on your screen, but I certainly can see sparks coming from the front left corner. So I wonder if something's rubbing on the tyre there, actually causing that issue.
No, I cannot see it on my screen, but there's definitely damage to the front left. And I think that was when he made the small contact with his teammate. We do have move for 11th place here.
Hadfield and Doka then. Doka trying to fight back after being shoved out of the way by Wojciech Savinovic earlier on. Oh, contact there! And Hadfield wide. And if Doka, well, he took some earlier on, he's now dishing it out to Hadfield, but again, I wonder if that was just a racing incident, who knows. I'm sure, again, we do have stewards here, so we'll see what they make of it. Hadfield is now pushing George Simmons, who managed to take advantage of the situation and get up into 12th position. Be happy about that, I reckon. Harrison still leads then. We've got just 2 laps to go, Sam. Harrison's hanging on for dear life now. What can Sutton do? Where can he make the move? I think like you say, I think it will be into the hairpin, but he's going to have to get the almightiest run out of this long corner, which is a bit like the reverse of turns 1 and 2 at Suzuka, actually. Where it opens on the exit. It is a good run, Sam, but he's not quite there, is he?
No, but that's Sodom, so I think he's gonna go for it anyways. Yeah.
I still have a go. I was I had to. Oh, he's round the outside. Oh, if he can hold this, it'll be very good indeed. Harrison's got the wide line. Gonna sweep round.
He's got to
carry the speed. No, he can't. Sutton's through. Oh, he's not clear. Oh, contact. Oh, and here comes Trendle. Simon Trendle on the inside. And he's hard on the brakes into the left-hander. He's going to get through, I think, because it's hard. Well, thought he was. It's hard to go around the outside there. He might find this to his cost. Harrison. Oh, takes the line. Trendle gets almost shoved a bit wide. Here comes Newman looking for the bubbly, but Newman can't quite make it there, and he's under attack from Cedric. But Ash Sutton starts the final lap with a lead of 0.6 of a second. That might be all the former British Touring Car champion needs to bring home maximum points. But Harrison, he's dogged in his pursuit. What can he do? Can he get into a position to challenge on this final lap? Newman and Cedric are close as well.
He has to basically repeat what Sutton did last lap, but I think Sutton is wise to it, and he will absolutely defend. And half a second, that might be too far, and that is Pete Newman defending hard against Cedric.
Cedric's trying to go around the outside. It is possible here. He'll need a very late move on the brakes, as Harrison isn't going to get to Sutton 0.6 of a second. He's not going to get to him on this straight anyway. He might have a chance in the final sector, but we'll have to wait and see for that. Cedric, how late can he brake? Newman brakes very late. Is he going to make the corner? Or sort of. Oh, he leaves the space. And Cedric goes through. He just opened the door slightly, did Newman. Didn't mean to do that, of course, but Cedric happy to accept the invitation. Still side by side. It's the exit, the double left-hander. But we have to turn left again, and that's going to favour Pete Newman. So Newman's defence of that fourth position could well be complete here. Just needs to hold the inside, and Cedric is blocked off. Cedric can't do anything. And look at this. Look at the two pure sim cars coming through, but around the last two corners, it's going to be Ash Sutton ahead of Harrison. And if Sutton keeps it clean through the final corner, which he does, he's going to come through. Ash Sutton now. He drives to the line. He takes the applause, and he wins at Okayama International. Brilliant race from Sutton. Harrison, second place. Trendell in third. And then Newman, Cedric, Baker, McFarlane, Neidhart, Savinovic, and Evdoka, the top 10, that they're still fighting.
Yeah, something happened to Turnbull there, because he's
Turnbull
20 seconds.
Yeah, well, we can maybe find that, can't we, after the race? But Turnbull, yeah, he dropped down. He lost 15 seconds, Sam, on the last lap.
Yeah, I suspect he got maybe turned there.
That's crazy, how much time he lost with that one. Oh, he'll be gutted about that, but it does mean, I suppose, that he'll get a better starting position for race 2, and that won't be of any consolation to him at the moment. Yeah, do we have that incident?
Let me just go through and search for it.
See if we can find this then. Turnbull lost a lot of places. It was inside the...
Turnbull went off the track, so this might be it.
Oh, and it was just... he was one of the cars that was behind Cedric then. He's... That's his own teammate that he's kind of...
I mean, it's the pure sim esports, but same stable.
Yeah, same stable. Yeah, it's not his actual teammate, but they still want to be wanting to hit each other. And Turnbull, well, I'm not going to say he drove into the other car because they kind of merged towards each other, but again, that's one that could be a racing incident, but still, it didn't help Matthew Turnbull's chances there. Down to 22nd position, so he'll have a lot to do in the second race, and no reverse grid wheel anymore, of course, but the reverse is going to be 36 drivers. So as that stands, that looks like it will be Scott Malcolm. So we'll get the confirmation of that when the results come up on the screen.
And here they are.
Looks like Team Mad might have a car on pole position, but Ash Sutton then with the win, 4 tenths ahead of Kieran Harrison, Simon Trendell in third, Pete Newman fourth, and Jack Cedric in fifth, Dave Baker in sixth, then Ross McFarlane, Dennis Neidhart, Wojciech Svidovic, Michael Evdoka, and then George Simmons in 11th, Adam Hadfield 12th, then Alex Nella 14th for Norbert Leitner, Oscar Mangan in 15th, 16th for Jason Staney, Craig Williams in 17th, 18th for Jason Cooper, 19th for Alex Torres, and the Preben Vala in 20th. We'll have to cycle through the results there.
We don't have time for the grid because they are already gridding.
I will not get them in time. But yeah, a few drivers who maybe we thought to be doing slightly better in this race, maybe down the order, but Like I said, 2 more chances for them. 36th place is reversed. So pole position does go to Scott Malcolm. Rob Sutherland will be second. And it's Matthias Sauer, Mark Johnson, Philip Johansson, Eric Mickey, Ben Gregory, Mats Anderson, Rickard Carlson, Jamie Rushworth in 10th. Then it's Carl Garcia, the Basque driver. Then Alex Simpson in 12th. Then Mark Woodhouse. Then Jake Blackhall. Then Matthew Turnbull. So he'll be looking to make up for that final lap. The penultimate lap on that last race. Fraser Smith in 16th. And Praven Valor. Alex Torres. Jason Cooper. And in 20th is Craig Williams, the race 1 winner. Ash Sutton, just as a formality, of course. We're starting in 36th place. Sam, just very quickly, who do you think might win this one?
That's a good question because we don't have, let's see, who do we have? Turnbull is 15, so I think just based on the previous race pace, I think he is definitely a favorite here. Of course, Simpson, he didn't have a great race 1, so he's already also in the good position here, starting 12th.
Rushworth up there as well.
Yeah, that's...
And also, look out for Mark Johnston. Hesketh Racing always seem to do quite well in these reverse grid races. So we'll see what they can pull out of the hat. For this one, long gridding here. A bit longer than normal, but that is, of course, because having to try and get everybody on the grid.
I'm hoping that everyone will get on the grid because I was kind of surprised that we didn't have the 10-minute warm-up.
Well, we didn't have one last week.
Yes, but there was discussion that we would have it between each heat. So I'm hoping that everyone is actually back on their seats.
That'll make it longer than the old format. But we thought we were getting a shorter format, damn it, and now we're getting less breaks. Hey, look, if they all get on the grid, I hope they do. But it might be set to go when they all get on the grid. That might be what it is.
Yeah, I'll just see. Do we have actually the gridding time?
I think we're just waiting for Damien Harris and Baron Glover, and then we should be ready to go. So just
I think Glover is on the grid zone now. We're just waiting for Damien. And here we go.
Here we are then. Well, the red lights are on. And heat 2, race 2 of the day, round 5 of the ARLTCR. He's going to be on as the lights go off, and it's a good start by Sutherland from the 2nd position. And the 3 Spires Motorsports car is going to come up the inside. Scott Malcolm settles into 2nd place. What is oh dear for?
It was momentarily forward there on the entry to turn 1.
Oh dear is right, I think, there. And it's like a horse with horns. Thanks, Juan Pablo. But yeah, going through here, Simpson up to 11th, see him. Sutherland leading ahead of Malcolm. And then Johnston, we said he would try and make the moves early. Mark Johnston up into 3rd place. Sauer in 4th. And then Mickey Gregory is in 6th. He said he had a lot of fun last week. And we're looking forward to this one as it seems to suit him better.
Sutherland going for the lead here.
The faster tracks. Malcolm is looking to get the lead back then. As was on pole position, didn't get a good start. The Scotsman, but he is up into the lead again. So
we have issues.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a mess. There's a few cars in the gravel. That's Mangan, Cooper. Sorry, Hadfield.
Yeah, that's Hadfield there.
Davies, possibly. It's Kidsley, I think. It might be Kidsley. Yeah, there we go. That was a bit of a mess at the hairpin. As predicted, I think. Johansson and Gregory are exchanging places. 6th and 7th. Woodhouse dropping down. What's that about? Oh, he's just been Carlson just on the inside there.
It looks like he just got freight trained there on the outside line.
I think you're right. Scott Malcolm into the lead there.
Oh, Fraser.
Oh, Johnston's going for 2nd place. Oh, is that Smith on the grass? Smith's on the grass down the main straight. Someone's in the gravel.
Simpson.
Oh, it's not Alex Simpson again. Oh, goodness me. He seems to have a gravel sponsorship going. He must have. Ah. Frustrating for him, though. There's a bit of a dummy move by Gregory on the Johansson. You're going to get up pretty early in the morning to... Oh, well, and he has done. Turns out he's got up early enough to get ahead of Philip Johansson. Mats Borger Anderson is trying to get through as well.
Let's just hope he doesn't merge with Johansson this time.
Yeah, that's another Scandinavian there, the Norwegian. 2 Norwegians in the field. In Borger and Vala. Oh, look at that. Well, Gregory got a bit sideways. Just didn't really get away from the corner very well, did he? Anderson tried to capitalise on that. Can't quite make the move stick in the end.
Also, Sutton in the problems here.
Oh, yes, Sutton going through the gravel himself. Oh, he's been hit as well by Marcel Fritsch, I think. So, yeah, Sutton having some issues. Who's that? That's Simon Field up the inside, making 3 wide to the hairpin. Oh, and the fiercely forward car tags.
Oh.
The... I don't know who that was.
Are you seeing something happen on the time screen? Because I'm seeing drivers dropping out.
What, out of the race out? Oh, there's all sorts happening, isn't there?
Yeah.
Johnston, well, we'll stick with it for the moment. Johnston leading ahead of Malcolm. Has it settled down?
Possibly.
Yeah, might have settled down. We had a big problem there. Quite a lot of drivers disappearing, but looks like everyone's back.
Yeah, I think that might have been some server issue.
Oh, out of control! Vala! Oh, wow. How has he got that one stopped? So I have no idea.
I think we might also have Sam Fitzpatrick joining us, so maybe that was the cause of things going wild.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Hashtag blame Sam. Hashtag blame Sam already on the stream. That's absolutely terrible. Apologies, just letting into the session. But yeah, looking pretty fun in this race 2 at the moment. I don't know if I
confirmed that he's messed that up, Sam. I think.
Definitely. Oh dear.
Definitely confirmed. Okay. It coincided perfectly with you loading in. We've got. We're seeing that's Johansson then, and so it's Carlson with. Everything's moving around so quickly. On the timing screen, if Doka's around, he's moving around, and they're now 3 wide, and that's Nella going through the middle. He's made some places, and bouncing across the curb is the fiercely forward car. That's Torres. Torres getting shoved wide, and meanwhile, Mark Johnson leads by 1.5 seconds. I tell you what, these Hesketh boys. They know how to pick up the scraps of the race wins from the reverse grids, and Johnston is making some serious hay. In fact, you could say he's bailing. He's that far in front. Sauer is in 2nd, Malcolm 3rd, Mickey is in 4th, and then Sutherland in 5th. So Sutherland's start didn't quite parlay into a run at the front, but he's still in 5th place. So it's not the end of the world. How are we doing, Sam?
Yeah, all good at the moment. I think Scott Malcolm in my experience, only with the 1 race win. He's one of the most experienced drivers on the grid is Mr. Malcolm for Team Mad, and of course leading for part of this race. I don't know about you, Woody, but I think Silverstone he won. I think that was his first race that he ever won. I don't think you were around watching to commentate on that one.
I know you're right.
I'm not sure if he's won since.
I know you're right on the 1 win. I'm pretty sure it's 1, but hey, he has won 1 in the series, and that is what matters.
Not in ARL though. It should just be at.
It's the Thursday night. I think it's the same league.
Thursday night. Yeah.
It's Sutherland. We see Sutherland, Gregory, Johansson, Turnbull. Turnbull, who started in 15th. We documented his calamity at the end of the previous race, but making a good fist of this one, up 7th places from where he started. Woodhouse is also in the top 10 in 10th. And Vala is up from 17th to 11th. And Turnbull, in fact, sets the fastest lap of the race. And that is handy indeed. 138.742. So, he pushes on. And you know what, Sam? We've seen a lot more wheel-to-wheel racing than would have imagined around here from meetings in the past anyway.
Yeah, usually this place is almost impossible to overtake.
Oh, dear.
But absolutely proving us wrong there. Ben Gregory actually just going past Rob Sutherland up into 5th place now. Is Gregory Turnbull with an opportunity to take advantage. Johansson, he's running in that 7th place, top of the pro
Oh, he's
drivers
just...
at the moment. A little bit of movement under braking, and Johansson's going to try to gain the position instead. Rob Sutherland just dropping down. No, that Sutherland can be quite feisty. Usually a good racer. To be
Well,
fair, is
that...
Rob, but it is Turnbull in the end who loses out to Sutherland. Can't quite get the move done.
Well, that was turning defense into offense for Johansson. He thought, well, I know that he's going to try and come the inside. But he had that... Oh, contact. That's Vala, and that's into Woodhouse. Woodhouse is around.
That might be steering damage as well for Woodhouse. That could well be the end of his race done. Doing the stewarding last week, there were much smaller impacts on the corners than that, which ended the drivers' races. As I got another spin round as well, maybe it was just a half spin. Jamie Wilson losing out from that.
Yeah, it's getting a bit fractious there in the lower reaches of the field. A bit higher up, we're seeing... what are we seeing? We're seeing Scott Malcolm has closed up in 2nd place. Into 2nd place man Matthias Sauer. And he's got within a couple of tenths of him, so looking pretty good for the Scotsman. Team man. Bit of a reduced entry for Team man actually this season.
Oh, Campfield hard into the wall, and that's going to be back into its own teammate. Unbelievable.
And that might have been possibly an Apex car that got the run of that as well. But yeah, it was Torres who ended up with the short end of that one. Oh, and that's a crabbing car, isn't it?
You'll do well to get that to the end. You get disqualified after 4 laps, I think, of running with a damaged car, and so he won't be able to get to the end of the race.
I think the car in front of him might be damaged as well, because he might have been crabbing along the... let's see this again then, Sam, and take us through this one.
Yeah, so Campfield just behind. At this point, his teammates not too far ahead, then just gets the contact. Not sure if that was Campfield moving across. To be fair, it is tricky. It's a very weird kind of part of the circuit there, because you have a couple of very unnecessary kind of sweepers, and then the track kind of narrows down a little bit Abu Dhabi style. And that, I think, was the cause for that one. We often see that in touring car racing around this circuit. It's Luke Kidsley as well, seemingly towing back to the pits. That's a shame for Kidsley, and that might be the end of his race too. The reverse grid for the final will be 25 cars, so it's one of the smallest reverse grids we can have. So you need to finish in that top 25. So bad news for those drivers.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I think that the reverse grid coming before the session is certainly quite interesting, and certainly makes for some maybe some different strategy elements between the drivers, who, you know, possibly a bit of we wouldn't rule out the possibility of somebody sandbagging to get that position, but you know, you'd like to think everybody's going to try and race the best they can. We've seen it in other series though. Alain Menu did it, didn't he, famously in the World Touring Cars about 10 years or so ago. On the inside for Turnbull, continuing his recovery then from 15th on the grid up to 6th place now. And Sam, I was talking to Sam Kumo about this in the first race, about just how impressive a lot of these newcomers are, and from your perspective, you know, we've seen drivers come in and out of the championship and with varying degrees of success, but this new crop seems to be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I think no disrespect to some of the new drivers last season, but they turned up, and not many of them kind of stuck for the entire season, unfortunately, and a few of them got quite a few penalties. But this batch of drivers are really high quality. A lot of Scandinavian drivers as well. We've got a few Swedish and
Yeah.
Norwegian drivers, which is very similar to what we've got in the Apex Racing League GT Championship on a Sunday night, also on the Esports Network. And Apex Racing TV.
Oh, Newton's Cradle there.
Yeah, pins.
And that's Eric Mickey coming off the worst, the American, who the independent driver. It's the one who ended up getting the worst of that. On the inside is Anderson now coming up the inside of him in the TC Motorsport car. It's like Sam said, one or two drivers from Norway. We said that earlier on as well. Now that's Gregory and Turnbull, so that'll be good. Ben Gregory, former AM champion, and Turnbull in just his 5th ARLTC race. And Gregory's diving for ease. I'll tell you what, he's capable of some outstanding overtakes, Ben Gregory, and not this time though, Sam.
Yeah, seemingly half fended it off did Turnbull. Gregory need took advantage of that just behind Johansson and Anderson. That's all of the Scandinavian drivers. By the way, if you're a driver in the series, you do not want to see Scandinavian drivers enter the series. I mean, they are insanely good. Like it's absolutely good. The Dutch have got very good recently as well with all their sim racing drivers, but the Finns in particular and the Swedes and the Nords as well, very good drivers. So that was bad news for some of the Brits in particular when they saw that, and they're doing well in this race as well, running up in 6th and 7th place.
Well, you know, a fine tradition of touring car racing in Scandinavia, especially in Sweden. Ricard Rydell, former British touring car champion, of course, and the Swedish touring car championship. It was a very good game of that as well a few years ago, as well. Some fantastic tracks, some excellent drivers, and yeah, a great tradition. Touring car racing in that part of the world. Continuing here, Philip Johansson's another one of those. And he is in combat at the hairpin with Preben Vala. And Vala is, they're just sort of negotiating this pretty well, I have to say. With just a few laps to go then, what is the situation at the front of the race? Because we need to see it. And I'll tell you what has happened is that Johnston, he went away at the start. He got quite a big lead. Malcolm was closing in on Sauer. And then it turns out actually Sauer has now caught Johnston and Malcolm's dropped off by 5 seconds. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to that group behind. I wonder if it's just a lot of battling and some mad defending, because Malcolm was right up behind second place. Garcia is in the pits, but it makes you wonder. But it's resolute defending, it looks like, by Scott Malcolm.
Yeah, and Turnbull with a bit of damage as well on the front of his car. That's going to cost him where he goes for the overtake. Malcolm, very clean car, seems at the moment for Team Mad. Not too many of the kind of proper front runners, like the championship contenders, lining up behind them at the moment. They're just struggling to make their way through.
I think that's fair to say, yeah.
They're looking further back. I mean, like Alex Simpson in 13th place, of course, former World Championship driver. Excellent driver is Alex Simpson. That'll be a pay rise. Also, Michael Evdoka in 17th, Cedric in 18th. They're kind of the top of the championship contenders. And so these guys, Malcolm's not dropping back too quick, because as you go down the order, the pace kind of gets faster. But he's got a big pace advantage here.
You know, Scott,
he's got a lot of experience around here, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's improved a lot in the past 2 years, especially as Scott. And I know he probably gets sick of me saying it. As flying up the inside then is Turnbull, but you've got to turn right now. And Malcolm gets the foot down quickly, gets the car straightened up, and maintains the position. So it's again good work by Scotty Malcolm. Veteran is holding off Turnbull extremely well. Ben Gregory won, as Adam Bath knows all too well. Ben Gregory won the AM category on a controller back in the day, Sam, about 6 years ago.
I think I can go into triple digits the amount of times I've been told that.
There you go. And 99
It's
of them were
impressive,
from
though.
Adam, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. No.
That's how impressive it is, though, that we have to say it. Oh, Vala's on the grass, a bit of the gravel, a little bit of gravel. But he's, yeah, 8th place for him at the moment. Sutherland is still hanging on the top 10, doing well. Jamie Rushworth's got up to 11th place, and he's just put a place on Johansson. And Alex Simpson just behind them, and then it's Jason Cooper. So, and Ricard Carlson, Wojciech Savinovic is in there, and then actually there's a pack full of really massive hitters, isn't there, in the middle? Savinovic, Harrison, Neidhart, Sutton, Baker, Sedgwick, Trendell, Newman, Mangan, and Doka. It just goes on. I could go on. I'm sorry to the rest of them. You are very good, but I'll be here forever otherwise.
And of course, Doka currently on reverse grid pole. It's always going to be a race 1 grid, isn't it? For race 3. There's that many top drivers around that area, which is usually we'd see. Oh, we have had.
We don't get that often, though. Still.
Yeah, we don't usually see this competitive an order. So usually the front runners make their way up to the top 10 by the end of this race too. But today, just the opposition is so strong. Malcolm's dropped down to 5th, and now Turnbull, and it looks like Borg as well is going to get past. Grigley trying to take advantage of this as well. Grigley down the inside into turn 1, and that should be all right for him, just behind Vale and Mick alongside. Vale staying ahead there, was one tenth of a second faster than Mick.
It was definitely important that Malcolm got in front of Vale, because he was otherwise he was getting freight trained. 2 or 3 more of them were coming past. If he didn't make that decisive move, it was maybe a little bit, maybe slightly naughty, but it was definitely good enough in that occasion. Probably fine and dandy in touring car racing, as now the action moves to the inside of the track, as the drivers in front try to get out of the slipstream. And Vale sizing up Malcolm again. Eric Mickey trying to go around the outside, and Jamie Rushworth trying to come through as well, another veteran of the series. There you go, that's a good move there, and that'll be Rushworth up into 9th place.
Yeah, Blackhall up into...
Sorry, Blackhall, dear me.
Into 8th.
Sorry, I'm used to Rushworth driving that car from last year.
Yeah, good driving there from Blackhall, because he's got to leave a little bit extra room to his rival due to his pin. He'll be one of the top pro drivers, because then Turnbull ahead of him in that pro category. That's way off the circuit for Vale. You can kind of get away with that, but you can understand that it's not ideal, because you still need to get some power down onto the circuit.
That's Blackhall again. He's trying to get through. It's the final lap, and Mark Johnston leads by 9/10 of a second. There he is, the man from Northern Ireland, trying to hold off the German Matthias Sauer. And it's been a good race for Johnston. I tell you, I said before the race to Sam Kumo that potentially he could be one to get the spoils, because Hesketh usually do well in the reverse grids, but I didn't actually think that he would just run away with this race. Sauer is putting up a good challenge though. 8/10 of a second behind, but I think at this point, Sam, it might be too much.
Yeah, I think so. He was closer a little while ago. He got the gap down to about half a second, I think, but could never really get within passing range. Still a good result though for Sauer, and these two of the favourites for the Amateur Championship. With all the points you can get for the Amateur Championship, no trade down, so that'll be very important for them. They'll both be very happy with this result.
Yeah, and through the final corner then comes Mark Johnston, and he's going to take another win for Hesketh Racing, their first of the season. Johnston does it here at Okayama in race 2. Brilliant job, and a brilliant job from Matthias Sauer as well. Lovely stuff. And Matthew Turnbull, well, the last race wasn't kind to him at the end. This one is. He gets 3rd place on the podium. And that's his first podium of the day.
I think he passed Anderson on the last lap. We saw some kind of change there. So Turnbull with a late charge, like how close it is behind as well. 25th place, went to Evdoka in the end. He held off Fraser Smith by quarters of a second. So that was big for Evdoka. So it'll be Evdoka, Trendell on the front row of the grid. Mangan as well, pretty far up there. Sedgwick and Sutton starting from, I think, about the 6th row. So some very competitive drivers near the front for that race. And of course, remember, you need to finish either on the lead lap or one lap down in order to score points. So it's important that Roberts and co get across the line. Yeah, John Roberts will be the last driver to score points.
Yeah, 47th place. There's not a great deal left of his boosted motorsport car, but he'll be looking for a better campaign in race 3. He's going to find it hard from where he's going to be starting. But in terms of this one, like Sam was saying earlier, there were 25 drivers reversed for this one. And race 1 results will be on the screen. Race 2 results, as it says now, on the screen here. Mark Johnston with the win and 1 second ahead of Sauer and then Turnbull. Mats Borger Anderson in 4th, then it's Ben Gregory, Scott Malcolm in 6th, Preben Vala, then Jake Blackall, Eric Mickey, Jamie Rushworth in 10th, then Rob Sutherland, Alex Simpson, Jason Cooper, Wojciech Svidovic in 14th, ahead of Kieran Harrison. They did make their way through fairly well, and they're about 20 places gained for those two. Philip Johansson in 16th, 17th is Rickard Carlson, Dennis Neinhardt in 18th, and then a little bit further down, Dave Baker 19th, and then Jack Sedgwick, Pete Newman in 21st, Oscar Mangan 22nd, 23rd was Simon Trendell, and then Michael Evdoka. Fraser Smith was 25th, which said it was a very close finish there. 4 cars separated by, well, in fact, 6 cars just separated by 1 second there if you count Simon Field and George Simmons. Marcel Fritsch was 28th, and then Jamie Wilson in 29th place with Jason Staney in 30th. It's not been his race meeting so far. Adam Hedgecock in 31st, Darius Neinhardt 32nd, then Adam Hadfield, Sean Gardner, Toby Ward in 35th, Nathan Davies 36th, and then Mark Woodhouse, Austin Foster in 38th, ahead of Joachim Gulbrandsen. Another Norwegian, actually, that's 3 Norwegians, isn't it? Baron Glover 40th, Damien Harris 41st, 42nd Alex Neller, then Norbert Leitner, Ash Sutton in 44th. I think that's a penalty, possibly. He was making his way up into the top 20. Keith Stevens in 45th, Pierre-Yves de Sutter in 46th, then John Roberts, we saw him finishing 47th. And the retirements, well, there were only 6 of them still, despite the reverse grid. Craig Williams, Mikel Garcia, Adrian Campfield, we saw Alex Torres, we saw Luke Kidsley, and then Ross McFarlane was the first man out of the race. Sam, that is a bit of a shock.
Apparently his connection died.
Oh.
So sorry, Ross. If that was, I mean, I'm not going to take responsibility for it, you know, because I don't like to think I have that much power. It did happen again near the end of the race. I didn't rejoin the server, although Jason Cooper did. Maybe Jason Cooper broke. Okay, I don't know, but yeah, maybe we'll learn that for next time. That don't join the server midway through the race, otherwise it messes it all up.
Maybe that's what happened to my screen as well. But no, we have a little bit of time now to wait before the next race. So we're going to go for a small break. We're going to get some adverts in and have a word with some of our sponsors. But we'll be back at the other side of the break when race 3 in the ARLTCR rolls on. Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network and the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship from the Okayama International Circuit in Japan. This is round 3 of the day. Andrew Woodhouse alongside Sam Fitzpatrick, I'm pleased to say, now with Sam Kumo doing the cameras. He did a very good job on the commentary and doing the cameras. It's very, very difficult, especially for a league like this, Sam, with over 50 cars. My goodness.
Absolutely. Anyone who's ever listened to our co-commentator, co-broadcaster Marco Barbanero, he often tries that, and it's horrendous. I mean, I always have to turn off the streams whenever I'm watching him. So Sam did a vastly superior job. Hopefully Marco's listening.
I'm going to tell him about that. I am going to tell him.
We need to be frank with him. Really, he needs to learn. Race 3 about to grid up.
Speaking of learning, are these drivers, Sam, going to learn maybe some lessons from earlier on in the day? Who knows?
Unlikely.
Well, they are touring car drivers. I mean, what can we say? We've both been one, and it's it's a different mindset that comes over you, isn't it? Fraser Smith is going to be the one who's charged with leading the field away from pole position. Michael Docker in second, Simon Trendell, and Oscar Mangan, Pete Newman, Jack Sedgwick, Dave Baker, Dennis Neidhart, Rickard Carlson, and Philip Johansson are the top 10. Incidentally, the winner of race 2, Mark Johnson, will be 25th, because that's how many cars are reversed. There he was at the top of the screen. Kip Stevens down in 45th place, to see him there. Ash Sutton, 44th. And the reigning champion, Ross McFarlane, well, 53rd place. Have to get his binoculars out to be able to see the lights, I think. But here we go. As we're ready for the start, we're going to get 5 red lights above the drivers. Lights are off, the race is on. It's a brilliant start by Fraser Smith, as he's going to maintain that lead, unless he gives Evdoka too much room. Oh, and almost does open the door a little bit. Oh, Smith's on the gravel. Oh, no. It's gone wide. He's lost the lead. There goes Evdoka, then into the lead. Trendell in second, then it's Mangan. Mangan's trying to go around the outside. Oh, contact there. Mangan goes off. And Trendell getting the elbows out on the first lap, and he might have to do that with Pete Newman as well, Sam, into the long right hand.
Looks like Newman's been able to get past, and Cedric's been able to get past as well. He's going the long way round. Should get the drive now, should Cedric. However, he could be boxed in down this next straight. Has he got the overspeed to get past one cut? And now that smart jump from Newman now gives the toe to Trendell in attempt to keep Cedric behind him. However, Cedric's going to get that one done anyway. And now Trendell gets a little bit of contact from Smith. That was a weird turn 1 for Smith, just went in too deep, dips the wheel to the grass, and skidded wide off the circuit. Great start for Turnbull further down, up 4 places so far.
Yeah, brilliant start there. And look at this jostling for position. This track is wonderful on the first couple of laps, it really is. It's been good in the rest of the laps as well. We've seen, oh, big dive. Oh, and the boosted car gets turned around. And that wasn't the car that was flying up the inside that caused the contact that time. It was the one on the other side, the one in the middle, I think, Sam, sorry, that was what I'm trying to say, who I think made the contact with, I think it was Simon Field, wasn't it? In the boosted car. Gardner. Oh, 2 off here, sideways, oh, bang. And that's the, that was, somebody broken steering, I think, for the, big crash. And that's Harrison involved, and it was the 27 of Marcel Fritsch, I think, who started that one. There's a wheel bouncing across the circuit. I think that's done and dusted. Look at the state of that.
Wasn't too far away from a safety car there. We had a few cars.
So it wasn't Harrison, Sam, sorry to butt in there. It wasn't Harrison who had the trouble. It was his teammate. I think it was Norbert Leitner, possibly. So, yeah, because I was worried for Harrison there. I thought it might have been him.
Man, you're getting a little bit swervy down the straight, very much like, I'm really quick, guys, just don't overtake me. I want to get past these cars ahead. I'm sure Kieran Housen has probably learnt that by now, but hanging frustrated by being kind of pushed off in those stages. We can't go around right in the middle of the circuit. Oh, that's very good. It's Ash Sutton, and now he also was Blackhall, and he then gets put right in the correct direction, but might have too much damage to carry on. That's never a situation we'll be in.
Oh,
Much
lock
rather
up.
be in that situation in sim racing rather than real life. But
Yeah.
back onto the back, he does seem to have decent pace though.
Yeah, facing the whole field, it's not exactly where you want to be, is it? As Craig Williams has had a bit of a subdued meeting, I'll be honest. He's down in 45th place. Oh, he's sideways. That subdued the level of grip on his tyres, but manages to get away with that. Newman sets the fastest lap at the end of lap 2 in his pursuit of Michael Evdoka. And here that is. It wasn't looking good for Jake Blackhall, but it is looking good for another driver in the Pure Sim stable, Sam. That's Evdoka. And started in second place, got a good start, took advantage when Smith went off, and now he's in the lead.
Must have made a mistake on that last lap. Evdoka. Yeah, I think he made a mistake in the first sector.
Well,
Perhaps.
Newman's just made a mistake there, mate, as he went a bit sideways, and that's allowed Cedric to get alongside.
Yeah, Cedric, this is easy enough for him. Newman, experienced driver, knows that Cedric's a bit faster. He still fights around the outside. I'll have the inside for the next corner. And
Well,
he
if
is
he isn't,
fighting
I
along
don't
with him
know if he is
with the
faster,
Inex
though,
driver.
really.
And then does get ahead finally. You're much more versed in this series than
Well, they
I,
were
so
very evenly
I'll
matched
take your
in the
word for
first.
it.
No, well, they qualified together. I think 4th and 5th they qualified. Newman ahead of Cedric, so very similar pace on this track. He did have the run though after the mistake by Newman. Cedric does go through, but it will be interesting
Newman
to see
was
if he can catch
amateur.
Evdoka now. Sorry, mate.
Well, was Newman amateur
In the
last
last
season or maybe the
championship, it
season
was, yeah.
before?
Last
Okay,
season
that's
it
why
was,
I'm
yeah.
that's why I'm undermining him. But no, he's a lot
Oh,
better.
there goes Kidsley, and that's Torres. That's the second time we've seen Torres in trouble. The first time wasn't his fault. Got crashed into by Campfield, who was out of control on the grass. And this time, yeah, with Kidsley, I'm not sure what happened there, but it's a problem nevertheless.
That's the end of his race. No fast repairs for these drivers. So if you have a meatball, very unlikely that the car will be repaired because you won't score points if you finish more than one lap down. So that's no points for him, and that's absolutely huge because if you finish in say 50th place, I think you get 20 points. So even if you finish last, as long as you finish, then you still get a decent amount of points. We were thinking about changing the system for this season, but kept it the same. Really encourages the drivers to finish the races rather than kind of take any risks. It's about attrition more than anything else. Mangan now up into 4th place, so that's actually where Mangan started, but it's been a very convoluted journey for him to get back there.
Yeah, in most walks of life, a meatball is a good thing, but
Exactly.
in racing, not quite. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, maybe new to iRacing or maybe just new to sim racing in general, the meatball is the black and orange flag, which is displayed in real motor racing as well. When a driver maybe has maybe a car has some bodywork loose or something's dangerous, essentially that the stewards want them to sort out. So it's not a straight black flag. It's not a disqualification, but it's a get in the pits as soon as you can, make repairs if you can flag. But it's black with an orange or brown circle. So yeah, looks a bit like a meatball.
Certainly, if I was going to open an Italian restaurant, it would have that featured in. I'm sure there's a superb pun out there for an Italian restaurant with a meatball. So no, I might have to copyright that one.
Well, the Freem car there, Jamie Rushworth, kind of looks like an Italian flag there on the side, and
Yep.
Yeah, looks very good indeed. And he is side by side with Preben Vala, and he's getting attacked by Turnbull, so this could get very tasty indeed into the hairpin. And who's going to come out on top here? And Vala, well, that was brave, wasn't it? Nearly ended up in Valhalla there, did Vala, but if he'd have come across any later, he got away with it that time. Great camera shot here, look. Right on the back of the Audi RS3. And Turnbull, he's itching to get past Sam.
Any amount of time, Turnbull up 8 places. Vala to be fair, 5 places, and also Rushworth having a good day. Although actually Rushworth's where he started in 16th place. I thought he'd gained some places. Simmons and Hadfield only just behind. They were unlucky to miss out on the reverse grid for this race 3. And Varley just staying ahead, but now 1 second to the next car. These guys actually matching the race leaders. There's barely any difference between these guys and the front runners. It's just they started too far down.
And actually, if we look just ahead of this group to Ricard Carlsen in 13th, he's leading the AM category at the moment. So this will be great points for him. The Swede, like we say, Swedish touring car driver called Ricard. I think it's a good omen for him in this championship. Alex Simpson's just ahead as well, who had a bit of a gravel infatuation in the first 2 races, but that won't be a pay rise. But he's doing quite well here. 12th place, up from 14th. Just trying to get the points in. He's been a runner-up in the championship before. He knows how to put a season together. But this is a battle for the lead, and Sedgwick has got onto the back of Evdoka as we thought he might. And now he's challenging hard then through this double left-hander. It looks like... Oh, he's got a good run, Sam, but as is the slipstream in this car around this track, he doesn't quite gain enough until very late on in the straight.
I've raced with Michael quite a bit in the past, and he is very feisty in
very good
defence. But yeah, like you said, he's usually very good. He doesn't push it too far, but he will push it to the limit, and will be absolutely desperate for that race to win. Maybe some drivers might think, oh, 2nd place is still a good result, but no, Michael will be going for the win or nothing, I'm sure. I'm quite sure about how Jack will be thinking about it. Of course, he really should have won the championship a couple of years ago. Should have won the championship last season as well. We actually calculated the points. If it weren't for the showdown, he would have won the championship with a round to spare last season with Cedric. Even with the drops where he would have had it wrapped up for Daytona. It was just these last couple of showdowns haven't happened for him so far.
He was very good last season. Evdoka, I mean, he was leading. This is how good he is. He was leading the World GT Championship until about halfway through until about 2/3 of the way through the season, about 2 or 3 years ago, until everyone started crashing into him. So there was that. So it gives you an idea of the kind of competition that he's been in, and you know he's been in this series and doing a good job. As Cedric goes for the move, then he's going through into the lead. Goes Jack Sedgwick. At least for now, Evdoka. Oh, that might be a slowdown, Sam. He got a lot of the inside grass there.
I still want to get Jack position and then serve it, but he's still going at the moment. He'll have the inside line for the next corner. He can go around the outside at this, however, of course that turns into the inside for the next corner. He's a little bit deep, but he'll keep his nose in there. He's going to come back again. Is the next car. Is Evdoka still alongside? He's still got half of his car alongside. Here comes Newman as well just behind. Evdoka, I think, will have to back out of it now. No such can do. And he goes around the outside through the first part, now through the second part, and that's going to be a better exit as well. And he should be leading as they move on to lap 8.
Here comes Pete Newman, though. The slipstream of the Freem car is almost pushing Evdoka back into the lead, and he goes into the lead. Newman's going to try around the outside of Cedric as well, and Cedric almost leaning on Evdoka as they come through the corner. Evdoka has the inside line though for turn 2. This is the part of the track where it gets tight. This is what Sam said earlier on. It sort of pinches almost unnecessarily here, but just provides some great racing. Oh, and he's just alongside. Is Cedric? He just had literally Sam, an inch of the front splitter alongside, but it was enough for Evdoka to have to give him the space.
Yeah, but Evdoka's got the outside line again. Was on the power slightly earlier, and he is making up that gap. They're going to be dead level by the time they get onto the brakes at the end of this straight. Behind Mangan trying to get up into 3rd place. He wants to be better than the rest, picking up the pieces from this. Evdoka mega late on the brakes. Can he get stopped? He should have this one. This time, Evdoka, he's in a much better position than he was this time on the last lap.
Still there.
Now he'll try to push off Cedric. He's remaining alongside. They just cannot get a car ahead, can they?
These next 2 corners, though, this is where that left-hander there, and this tight left-hander is where the grip for the car on the outside doesn't always seem to be there, but it doesn't seem to matter to Cedric this time as they bang wheel arches once more, and Cedric surely into the lead now, although if Evdoka gets a good slingshot off the corner, he's trying to make some space, he's trying to draw alongside once more. but Jack Sedgwick is clear. Jack Sedgwick leads the race.
Now Ducker's got to respond immediately. He's quick as
Yep.
Ducker, but this is going to be his best opportunity to come back. He's got the gap back down to a 10th and a half. This first corner quite quick in these touring cars, so I don't think he'll have the braking area to go for it. He does look at it, and that actually compromises his line slightly. Now just nail these next couple of corners and then go for a dive into the hairpin. Mangan will be trying to get past Ducker though soon. I think that's slightly more likely that we're going to see a change for second and third rather than first and second.
Yeah, Mangan got past Newman in all that as well. So Pete's going to be annoyed that he's lost a place, but Mangan taking advantage of that situation well. And Ducker's, he's right up. He's right in the slipstream though. Oh yeah, and it's just a 10th of a second. He's going to have to defend this, Jack Sedgwick. We've seen him be a very, very good front runner in the past. Once he gets to the lead, he very rarely loses it. If Ducker has to brake late, he knows that that's his only chances to get this overlap. But unlike Sedgwick on him on the previous lap, Sam, he cannot keep that overlap, and he almost lost the place to Oscar Mangan.
Oh, Mangan has his being spun round. Oh, there's some contact, and that's more contact for Mangan to accompany that issue they had on the first lap. Newman moves back up into third, and Harrison and Baker alongside one another.
Harrison, big move round all the way around the outside of the hairpin.
Yeah, and had the inside for the next corner. Oh, Mangan will be furious. I mean, Mangan should have really won this race. To be honest, he started ahead of Sedgwick. I think he's had equal pace to Sedgwick, and that just a couple of bits of contact, probably not his fault, have sent him further down the order. And now we've got Sedgwick leading the way by 7/10. Evdoka still slightly in the draft. He was gaining a bit down the pit straight, but with still 4 laps to go, he's got time as Evdoka, but it'll be tricky. This will have to be some his best lap. So of course in this touring car, there's not a whole lot kind of that you can do. You don't necessarily kind of push it around the lap. Of course, you've got front wheel drive, so if you're on the power slightly earlier, then you often just run out of time. So to find that extra 5% is really tricky.
It's hard to hustle this car, it certainly is. You know, you can push, but yeah, you can't quite. It's not like a rear wheel drive car. Maybe step on the power a little bit early, you might get a bit sideways, a bit of risk and reward. You don't really get that in this car. It's more about controlling the tyres, making sure you've still got enough left at the end. And it's not quite as hot as it was at the start of the day when it's 40 odd degrees track temperature, but it certainly is still very sunny here. 29 degrees, you see. The air temperature's gone down by 1 degree, but the track temperature has plummeted. And Harrison, oh, big wide arc here, Sam. Oh, that looks good. That looks good for Harrison.
I think that's what he did on the last lap to Baker, wasn't it? And it worked well again. The outside for the first hairpin doesn't seem too bad, but then once you have the inside for the next hairpin, then that's a big advantage. Maybe it's just because of a slight elevation change, a bit more grip on that inside.
Traditionally,
yeah, that seems to be the way to go.
Traditionally, that first hairpin was terrible for trying to go around the outside. You just couldn't do it. But I wonder if it's just rubbered in that line a little bit more during the meeting, and that's sort of maybe we're seeing a little bit of a bigger groove, as they'd almost say in NASCAR, appearing around that corner as Baker now takes on Oscar Mangan. He's going to try and get 5th place away from the Irishman. Baker, the season 7 champion.
I mean, it's kind of, it's a little bit like an inevitable, a bit of a cliche Hollywood movie. You kind of know that Baker's going to finish in 6th anyway, because that's where he finishes every race, hence the number 6 on his car.
He's trying very hard to get rid of that 6th place here. But, oh wow, this is going to be, oh, that's tough. Trendell on the outside, we saw him get a podium earlier. He's trying for more bubbly, but he's going to try and get past Dave Baker, and that is difficult, believe me. Neidhart's just behind as well. Savidovic in 9th, Johansson in 10th. Jason Cooper and Alex Simpson have joined the party as well. So I think, Sam, it's going to be, well, there's 10 cars vying for the podium places here.
just a long queue.
Maybe 12.
This is what we've seen on the most part, like kind of draft trains, and unless you've got, it's tricky to overtake, as I keep on saying. But if the car ahead of you's got a draft, then it's even more tricky. So we've kind of seen, particularly in race 2, the slow guys or the slower guys get to start at the front and just stay there because the front guys aren't able to make their way through kind of the midfield runs, and the midfield runs aren't able to get ahead of the lower runners. So it's been a good dynamic today.
That's the thing when you have the big reverse grid races, is the front runners are coming through, but the people in front of them are only slightly slower than them. It's very difficult to make the moves, and like you say, that works all the way through the field. And that's why you get some. That's why we love the reverse grid races. This one's been an interesting one because it is, as Sam said, the fast guys from race 1 have managed to sort of just levitate to the front of this race, gravitate to the front of this race. They're not floating. At least we don't think they are. They might be though. The winner might be floating on a bit of air if he wins this one, Jack Sedgwick, who is only half a second still ahead of Docker. He's not got rid of him completely, but this is Ross McFarlane. He started at the very back, Sam, 53rd place. He's about to get his 32nd place of the day.
Yep, and should have that one done. I mean, this is just the last move they can get.
I mean, that's the race 2 winner there as well.
Yeah, yeah. That's as good as this race is going to be. McFarlane, I think, will have some satisfaction from this race because I don't think there was anything more available. Maxborg, Anderson, well up the road, and then Carlson in a different part of the circuit. Really, 10 seconds further ahead.
It's Gregory.
So driving. Neidhart was doing better than this earlier, wasn't he? I
thought that's the other Neidhart.
That's the other Neidhart. Oh, D Neidhart. We can't even put the first initial there, can we?
Another blue, black and white car in this league.
Yeah.
And we need to issue a cease and desist or something to someone about this. But Cedric leads the way onto the final lap as Alex Neller flashes the lights. But, well, that looks pretty comfortable for Cedric. It's not quite over. We know that mistakes can be made, Sam, but that's a decent margin just on the 6/10ths.
This will be as close as Evdokker's got, I think, since lap 9. The gap's kind of gone from 7/10ths down to half a second there. It seems to go back up to 6/10ths. But then back down to 4/10ths now. So another lap, I'm sure Michael would say they would have a pretty good chance. But this is too far back at the moment for Evdokker. Still good points for him. Maybe I think too much about the points. I mentioned the points a lot. These guys want to win the race, and it's still early in the season. But these are the type of results you need. Yeah.
They don't want to throw the points away either.
It's 95 points. 95 points. I dream of getting 95 points in a season.
It would take me a lot of races to get 95 points. But Cedric is going to get maximum points here, providing he negotiates the last corner, as we've said all night long. But here he comes through the final corner and to the line to take the checkered flag and to take race 3 here at Okayama. Jack Sedgwick for Inex Racing. The IDC team gets the win here at Okayama. Some drivers in with a need of some good points there as well, Samu, picking them up very nicely there. Alex Simpson, you can see there, 12th. He needed a good finish there, I think.
Yeah, it was a good race too as well for Simpson. He's 14th, so I think that's 2 consecutive 12ths actually for Simpson after not a particularly good race 1. So still decent for him. They do get 2 drop rounds during the first 11 meetings of the season, then no drops for the final couple of rounds. So I don't think that will be one of Simpson's.
Adam Hadfield made a good race there, 20 places gained. Fantastic. He was the second highest gainer out of anybody. And but the first, I think we've got to go to him as well. Ross McFarlane. Car 1. Positions gained, 32. And he still didn't finish in the top 20, Sam. That's how big the damn field is.
Yeah. But he'll certainly be back for the next rounds. I can tell you he wasn't pleased about the disconnect in race 2, but good drive from McFarlane to get back up there. We really need to go through the stats at some point. I know I can go through the ARLTC and make some decent stats, but need to find that the highest amount of places ever gained on these Thursday night leagues. There must be 40
Your own
plus
Kaiser
out
will
there.
have. Your own Kaiser will probably have the stats somewhere if you can find him. I don't know if you mind reading these out. My voice is going.
Absolutely. Jack Cedric wins out then, half second clear of Michael Evdotka, who led for most of the race, Evdotka, but just undone there by Cedric in on about lap 8 or lap 9. Kieran Harrison, great drive, up 8 places, might be points high score today. Actually, Harrison as well in third. Then there's Pete Newman, Oscar Mangan, who will be absolutely livid with that couple of contacts. Dave Baker, custom made 6th, love it. Simon Trendell in 7th, Dennis Neidhardt, Wojciech Zuridovich, and Philip Johansson just stayed where they were. They were kind of waiting for a big crash ahead, never really came for them. Jason Cooper and Alex Simpson in 11th and 12th. Adam Hadfield up 20 places into 13th. There's Matthew Turnbull, Preben Vala, Jamie Rushworth, George Simmons, Eric Mick, Ricard Carlson, Mats Borg Anderson, Ross McFarlane, Mark Johnston, Jamie Wilson, Alex Neller, Mark Woodhouse, Ben Gregory, Darius Neidhart, Rob Sutherland, Adam Hedgecock, Jason Staney, Adrian Campfield, Simon Field, Toby Ward, Mikael Garcia, Damian Harris, Jake Blackhall, John Roberts, Baron Glover in 38th, Craig Williams and Pierre Yves de Sote running out the top 40. Then it was Scott Malcolm, who had a bit of an issue out there. There were a few spins for drivers. Joachim Goldbranson was in 42nd. There's Nathan Davies. Austin Foster was the last driver. In fact, Foster doesn't score points. Sorry, Austin. Probably got your hopes up there. Davies scores points, but Foster does not. The other retirees were Kip Stevens, Luke Kidsley, Fraser Smith, Ash Sutton, Alex Torres, Norbert Leitner, Matthias Sora, Marcel Fritsch, and Sean Gardner in 53rd place. I think I remember that instant that Gardner has got absolutely wiped out at the near the end of the lap in sector 3. So hence the no points for him.
All right. Well, thanks very much for that, Sam. Barber Motorsports Park is where we head next week on the 3rd of September. That should be good. So it's a great track. Really, really good track. I'm not sure how well the overtaking will be in the Audi, but we'll have to see how that goes. And with that, the reigning champion and the biggest gainer in the 3rd race there joins us now in Ross McFarlane. And Ross, can you hear us first of all?
Yes, hello.
Hello, and well, that must be fun. We said you'd have to get your binoculars out to find the start lights, but in the end, you gained 30 odd places. Still didn't finish in the top 20. Take us through that race. It must have been a lot of fun.
Well, you say to find the start lights. I was actually around the last corner, so I wouldn't be able to see them regardless. No, it's avoiding the carnage on the first couple of laps. That's basically just a lottery. You never know what's going to happen. And then after that, just picking off drivers one by one. You know, if you're going to have something terrible happen in like it did in race 2 for me, at least have a race like that in race 3. That was really good fun. And lots and lots of passes is something that you don't often come to when you're certainly at the front of the grid. It's very hard to make passes, but yeah, from the rear that was great fun.
I mean, this track is quite hard to overtake anyway, but you know, made it look easy in that race. But yeah, what happened earlier on then? Was it was a disconnection, I believe, was it?
Yeah, I believe there was a number of drivers all under the same internet service provider who were blinking in and out. I think only 2 of us actually got dropped. That was myself and Craig Williams. And then when I re-entered the session, unfortunately, maybe a glitch, my car was dropped heavily onto the pit stall and broken very swiftly. So that was the end of that race. And yeah, it's a big blow because that's 2 meetings in a row now where I've had pretty decent race ones. You know, Spa was very good, and then here was all right. But I've effectively used both my drop rounds already, so I've got nothing to lose from here on out. I've got to be scoring as many points as possible and just having great meetings.
I remember when the team racing started. I think people used to say that the cars used to get dropped from 10 foot above the pit stall sometimes, and yeah, it was a bit of an issue. It doesn't seem to happen much anymore, but unfortunately, it's happened to you this time. Well, let's look ahead to Barber then, given the fact that you've not had a wonderful couple of weeks, but Barber Motorsports Park. We were saying that we really enjoy the track here. What do you make of it? 'Cause obviously, the series has been there before, but is it the first time in the Audi?
Yeah, I believe it's the first time that we've been there in the TCR era. The track itself, I quite enjoy it. It's a real roller coaster track for much of it, which is always going to be entertaining to drive. There are a couple bits where the racing is going to suffer because obviously with those strange kind of chicane hairpin section in the middle of the track, that's not great when you've got 50 cars. But if everyone's sensible and we all get through that, the rest of the track is just it's real fun for racing.
Yeah, you can make some moves. Even in the last corner, you can get by if you're clever about it. But yeah, we love that track, and we look forward to seeing you on it. If you want to give any shout outs to your sponsors or to your team, friends and family, whoever.
Yeah, I'll just say thanks to Pure Sims again. We had to work pretty hard this evening. There was a few incidents, but I think as a team, we've done pretty well. Preparing ourselves rather last minute, but preparing ourselves for the meeting. And I want to say good luck to Mr. Sutton. He's going up to Scotland. Unfortunately, I won't be there to watch him live on the circuit, but hope he pulls out some more good races.
Yeah, we second that as well, and we hope you can do that next week as well.
Cheers.
Thanks, Ross. So Sam, you've got a couple of victims down there. You pick one if you like.
Yes, I will have a chat with Preben Bala, who is in the commentary box with us now. Preben, I will just ask. I am from Norfolk. Not sure if you're aware of Norfolk, but it's a weird place, and we're all named the same. So,
Strange football teams.
it's a lovely football team, the best football teams pound for pound in the world. But are we pronouncing your name correctly?
It's as close as you can get, I think. In Norwegian, it would be Preben Valle, but I don't mind the way you're doing it. It's perfectly fine.
Awesome, fantastic. Congratulations out there. From my sketchy calculations, you're one of the highest scoring amateur drivers to take. Well done.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun tonight, a lot of hard fights, and after last week, I realized that in this series you have to claim your space. So I tried to do that tonight, and I think it worked out quite well.
In race 2 and race 3, you had some quick guys around you. Would you say you fight everyone equally, or have you kind of learned to let the quick guys go, or are you being just as aggressive with anyone?
Well, tonight I felt like I had the pace to keep up with most guys, so I tried to claim my own space, as I said. But at the end of race 3, I was told by my spotter that I was leading the AMs, so I just let the 2 guys behind me go, and I think that was the right decision, so I could just follow them around.
Yeah, absolutely. Smart driving, 100%. And of course, your first season in the championship. How have you found it so far? And also, how did you find out about the series?
Well, I've had a ton of fun so far. It's completely different from anything I've done before. It's more or less my first time driving the TCR, so I have to learn by doing, as I've said to a few people. But I've had a lot of fun, and yeah, I can't wait for next week.
Absolutely. Have you got much experience around Barber Motorsports Park?
No, not that much, but I will find my way around, and I'm sure I'll be there or thereabouts on Thursday.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck for that one, Preben. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Well, I would like to thank my 2 teammates, Joachim and Matt, and also Terje, who was spotting for me tonight, who I drive with in my regular team. So yeah, those guys.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, Preben, and see you back soon.
Thank you.
Yeah, certainly turning into a good debut season for Preben Vala, and Another good debut season that's unfolding in front of us belongs to Kieran Harrison, and Kieran joins in the commentary box now. Can you hear us first of all, Kieran?
Yep, I can hear you.
Well, welcome into the commentary box for the first time. I'll tell you what, the first race, really a fantastic race for you, and a great battle at the front.
Yeah, it was a shame I couldn't get the win in the end. But although I had pole, and I think I did have enough pace potentially to win it. It was the one corner where I was particularly weak compared to Ash was unfortunately the corner just before the long straight. So, and he was so good on the brakes into the hairpin as well. It was always going to be tough to hold him off. But I was just pleased tonight to get like good points and no damage after a nightmare last week.
He's probably the best on the brakes that this series has seen, and you know, we see that in when he races in the touring cars as well in real life. But second place there, and then the fight through the reverse grid races happened. And did you have to get your boxing gloves out a little bit in the race too?
To be honest, I was trying to be as passive as possible while trying to make up positions. I was letting some of the other quick guys in front of me do the hard work, and I was just trying to follow them through. It works out okay with the reverse grids being so big. There's a lot of battling, a lot of crashing, a lot of people going wide. So I was just capitalizing where I could and trying desperately to keep my car clean, and it ended up being quite a good strategy.
Yeah, sorry. And then in race 3, you know, that ended up going very well for you. The guys in front of you started battling, didn't they, with Newman and Mangan and the like, and you managed to sneak through for third.
Yeah, it was tough. The hardest person to get past was Baker, but then he eventually got held up. I think when they started battling, as you say, he got held up, and I was able to go around the outside, and then I was clear. It was a little bit easier to get past the other guys because the field had spread out a bit, so my slipstream effect behind them was a bit stronger. But yeah, I was actually getting engine overheating problems, and I'm not that experienced with the car and how much it should get hot and where I should start worrying. So I was pulling out of the draft on the straight sometimes to try and cool it down. But yeah, it worked out really well in the end for a second podium.
Blown engines are not unheard of in this car, so not necessarily sure whether they're from overheating or not, the ones we've seen in the past, or just bad driving. But I think yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry. New team for this season, HM Engineering, and you know, you've got a couple of teammates in there. Didn't maybe go their way today, but you got quite a strong group, haven't you?
Absolutely, the pace is there. Fraser and Norbert both didn't have. Well, I think they were both very unlucky today. Norbert, both rounds so far, he's been involved in incidents that weren't his fault and got damage, and then he's not even managed to finish the last race, so he doesn't get any points. But it happened to me as well last round. I'm sure that their luck will turn, and yeah, hopefully we can challenge someone near the top in the teams championship too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, keeping the nose clean over the season definitely can bring the rewards at the end. So, well, just before we let you go, if you want to give a shout out to your sponsors or the team or anybody you'd like, really.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to say thanks to you guys for running the stream. It's a great job you're doing, and also all of the guys at Apex Racing League for running the series very professionally. And I'd like to shout out my team as well, and of course Norbert and Fraser, who we all put a lot of work in this week for the setup, and it seemed to pay off. So that's all.
All right. Well, thanks very much for joining us here, and well, we hope to see you next time.
All right, thank you.
Cheers. Kieran Harrison there, Sam, and yeah, an impressive debut season so far, I think.
Yeah, one of the championship favourites. Undoubtedly, it's very impressive how the 39 has done so far. Next up, I want to have a chat with Mr. Dave Baker, because it was the classic Dave Baker round. 2, not just 1, 2 sixth places. Congratulations, Dave. That was lovely.
Thank you very much, Sam. Yeah, I don't know how it keeps happening, but you know, 6th place, that's where you'll find me.
Absolutely. I mean, that's good points right there. One of the highest point scoring drivers of today, especially with a couple of issues for your rivals. So it couldn't have gone a whole lot better for you.
I'd have been a little bit quicker in the car, as I'm sure every driver says all the time. You know, the guys that won the races, They often overtook me during the race, so I've still got a little bit of something to work on my driving or finding the setup. Probably with me, to be honest. But yeah, overall, I think I had some cracking racing, some great side-by-sides. I'm sure you caught a load of it on the broadcast, a small, frantic track, and generally, I think it went okay. I mean, yeah, there were some incidents, I'm sure, throughout the grid, but I really enjoyed the evening.
How have you found the new drivers to the series? How would you compare the new drivers this season compared to maybe the new drivers from previous seasons?
I've got to say, they've probably got one of the toughest jobs. We've now got a season or two under our belts in this car. People have figured it out a little bit more. If you've seen, qualifying is so tight all the way throughout the grid. And for many drivers, they've probably not experienced grids this size, and particularly on small tracks like this. And I think, to be honest, they're acquitting themselves really, really well. Of course, as I said, there's always going to be those odd incidents that maybe ripple throughout the field and cause something. But no, I've been really impressed. There's some familiar names who maybe haven't raced with us before, but are known on the iRacing service, and they're proving incredibly quick, as you'd expect. And then there's some completely new names, and I think they're getting stuck in and hopefully having a good time.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having a chat with us, Dave. Is there anyone you'd like to give thanks to?
I'll just say sort of all the guys at Pure Sims team, you guys doing the broadcast as well, the drivers for turning it up to make it, what it is. So long may it continue.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, Dave, and keep up those 6th places.
I'll try. I'd like to go better, but 6th place is...
It's enough. It's enough.
Well, thanks, Dave, as usual. And Scott Malcolm joins us as well in the commentary box. And well, Scott, it was a bit of a mixed bag for you tonight, wasn't it? But still, it was a good race for you earlier on when you briefly had the lead.
Yeah, you've got to, if you get the reverse grid, you've got to grab it as much as you possibly can and just go for it. But like you said today, there's a lot of very new fast drivers in this, and it's getting harder and harder each week.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it spurs you on to improve, but I guess it's it's hard when you see like new drivers coming in and immediately slotting themselves in at the front. Is this a track that you like? I mean, I've not really, I don't think, ever spoken to you about this track. Is it one that you seem to go well at?
Usually I do, yeah. But this is the first time I tried the TCR on this track. I only tried about 7 o'clock tonight, and it actually works pretty well. I was kind of dubious about how the tarmac would handle it. It's just that slidey,
Japanese tarmac.
Yeah, Japanese tarmac. So I was like, well, how's it going to feel? How's it going to spin? Is it going to? I don't know. But the setup I got was pretty solid, so it was good enough for me.
What about Barber next week? Because it's another track that's quite similar in the way you drive this track.
Yeah, I've raced Barber in this car maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago in another league. It's pretty good. It should be alright. Should do okay.
Good. And well, before you let you go, as time is running out here, if you want to give a shout out to your team, any sponsors and people like that.
Yeah, just all the Team Mad guys, all you guys, all the usual suspects for putting up with me, and all the new drivers and that for joining this league, and hopefully it's going to be a fun few months.
All right, perfect, Scott. Well, good to see you, mate, and we'll hopefully catch you in the near future.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers.
Scott Malcolm there, Sam. One of the most laid-back people in sim racing, really. And he's been turning up for a long time, and he's been, every season he goes better. But as he said, every season the competition gets harder.
Yeah, new drivers join and just look at the grid today, and some good drivers join the championship, and the other good drivers never leave, and so you do just get a really high quality order, and it's tricky to get a whole lot out of it. But certainly Scott, so we'll be going for that amateur championship once again. Not the perfect meeting, but Barber will be interesting next week. Of course, we haven't visited this place, I believe, in ARL at least, in ARLTC before. We haven't visited Barber either. Lots of long corners. I don't particularly like the idea of it in front wheel machinery. However, you've got some good overtaking down the hill into turn 3. Turn 4 that I'm particularly looking forward to. We're going to see some proper dives on that one down into there. Could see some issues. So yeah, that will be a very good meeting for next week.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you to you for dropping in at short notice as well.
No problem. An honour as always.
Well, thanks very much to Sam Fitzpatrick and to Sam Kumo as well, who filled in as well for the first race and a half. Thank you to everybody for watching tonight here on the iRacing Esports Network and on the Apex Racing TV channel as well. But from all of us here at Okayama, it's good night from us, and we'll see you at Barber in 7 days' time. Good night.